watching the main viewer. That was a little presumptuous. Maybe you don't know what you're doing, but it's the main viewer. There's so much to talk about today. There's Star Trek Prodigy news. There's Star Trek Discovery, just finished shooting season 5. Wow, there's a lot of seasons there. There's a lot of Riker in Picard. Scott likes the wording on that one, but you guys know what I mean. Paramount Plus is dominating the landscape, and so much more to discuss. We have a very special guest today, and you might guess who it is. He's wearing a Star Trek Prodigy sweater, which is really cool. Author and journalist Ryan Britt of Inverse and Den of Geek.
Yay.
Hello.
All right. We also have Scott Baker here, everybody. You know
yo,
him.
what's happening?
Director, writer, producer, Fifth Passenger. He also has a Mike Myers, aka James T. Kirk mask behind him, it looks like.
It's the one.
He's also wearing a cool 10 Forward shirt to match Sirach Lofton. Check out Sirach online. You'll see he's wearing that in a recent picture. And he's also matching Melissa Longo, 10 Forward from Paramount Plus.
Woohoo! Yay! I love this shirt. It's awesome.
Very comfy too.
It is. It's soft.
It is. Like a kitty. Dr. Anne-Marie Seagull is here out in Manhattan.
Hi, I'm wearing my 7th Rule Ferengi Eye sweatshirt.
Ooh.
One of 7 because they're so soft. I love them.
Because that's the rule.
Yeah.
And my name is Ryan T. Husk. I'm wearing a Skeletor shirt. E-man. Anyway. I don't know how I feel about that impression.
That's good.
8.5.
That's pretty good.
Okay, thanks. Let's start. Oh, by the way, everybody in the live chat, we see, hey, John Orchiola, back of the head from screenrant.com. He's the one who posted the picture of Sirach in his 10 Forward shirt. Hey, John. We also have Glenn Iverson, Linda Anderegg, Dave, Gregory. Oh, Anne-Marie's in the live chat. Hello.
Hi.
Scott Jensen the 13th, Pat B. Hit me with your best shot. May Borello is here. Somebody got that 80s reference.
Yeah, I love Pat
Hello.
Benatar.
Yep. Fran Iverson, hello.
I
We see
listened to
you
Pat
all.
Benatar today.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, I listened to a Pat
Oh.
Benatar record of today.
Actually, we were going to get
Which
into some
one?
Paramount Plus news, but let's
This is
talk
like a
about
Doctor Who episode.
Ryan Britt's Day. First of all, yeah, what was the song you heard, and what were you doing a few hours ago today?
A few hours ago, I listened to a Pat Benatar record, and then I interviewed Patrick Stewart.
Double your
Just
pat.
get better than that.
It was
That's how you get hyped.
it was hot summer. It was Hot Summer Nights. That was the album. It's the only one we have on vinyl in my house. So yeah,
That's so Captain's Holiday.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got in my little I got in my little shorts and everything. Yeah, I interviewed Patrick Stewart. I did a feature preview for Den of Geek, which comes out in their print issue next week. And then in the UK, it'll come out a little bit after that. And then for the online version in the US, I did a Q&A with Patrick Stewart, which I did today. And that will be in the print issue for the UK and online everywhere for Den of Geek. In like a week, it comes out. So yeah, I talked to Patrick Stewart about Picard season 3, which I've seen some of.
Whoa.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm allowed to say that because this preview issue is coming out. So the preview issue is
Cool.
coming out. And it is very obvious in the writing of this preview piece for Den of Geek that I've seen it. And that's the point of the whole piece. So it's not a spoiler to say I've seen it. I will not tell you anything about it specifically, other than it's fantastic. I've seen a little bit of the first few episodes of Picard season 3. And it's really, really great. And I have not actually been able to say that for 30 days. So it's nice to be able to say that.
You guys,
yeah.
Ryan Britt, if you stick around to the end, he will be telling us the synopses for the first 3 episodes of Star Trek Picard, along with spoilers. So
It's just
stay
all.
tuned
It's
for
just
that.
that Spot goes missing in episode 1. Geordi has
Better
to find.
not.
has to find Spot. Riker shaves his beard. It grows back. It's bananas. Yeah.
Worf will feed him.
Yeah.
Best line ever in Star Trek. I will feed him.
Yeah, but no, it's pretty all I'll say is that like the hype for Picard season 3 is real. Like the hype is real. I talked to Terry Metalis and Gates McFadden and Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart today about the new season, and Stewart and I steered clear of spoilers, but like it was like we talked around them. So you'll see all of that, and nothing will be spoiled in these pieces that I've written. So that's all I can say is that the hype is real. It's everything that Terry Metalis has said on Twitter, if you follow him on Twitter or on Instagram now, I think he's kind of shifting there, is true. It is a real gift for the fans of the Next Generation, but also fans of Deep Space Nine. And so that is something that, again, that's going to be in the piece that
just thinking that
it's really a sequel to that era. You know what I mean? And once it starts.
Oh my
coming
God,
out,
we're gonna see Esri Dax in Picard season 3, aren't we? She's gonna be like, wait, how far into the future from Deep Space Nine is this?
Molly
Like
O'Brien
15?
is a pirate now, and she's just, Molly O'Brien is on a rampage.
Lieutenant Commander Esri Dax. That's my prediction
He's the
right now.
other
Lieutenant.
Molly O'Brien's like, I was an infant for like 5 years. How long was she? Like a tiny baby? Like way too long. There's some kind of weird.
Kinda still.
Isn't there a weird Molly O'Brien chronology that doesn't make sense? Like in Rascals, she's like talking, but she was like a baby, like the previous season or something.
She's in Fifth Passenger. Scott Baker's Fifth Passenger.
Scott,
I'll have
there
you
you
know.
go.
Hanahate.
Hanahate,
yeah.
yeah.
She plays a nurse.
Anyway, no, anything I say, I'll just give fake Picard season 3 spoilers. I have not seen I haven't seen a ton of it, to be clear. But I have seen a couple episodes, so I don't want to say that I've seen all of it because that would be a lie.
He's going to give us like 20 fake ones, and one of them's going to be real, and you just got
one of them's going to be fake.
Oh my gosh, Snapple.
Snapple facts. I love those things.
The higher the fewer guy is back. It's so weird.
Oh my god!
Like
my head would explode.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was the longest I ever had with Stewart. I did 20 minutes with him. It was almost 25, which is like pretty long for someone like his schedule. And so I've done 5, 10, 15 minutes with him here and there as a journalist before on junkets and stuff. But it was really great to he's a really great I'm also writing a book about Dune, so I talked to him about Dune a little bit as an icebreaker.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just talked to Kyle MacLachlan the previous week, so I was like, I'm
gosh.
going to use my Dune thing as an icebreaker with Patrick Stewart, because I don't know about Scott. I don't know if you feel about this or anybody. I mean, I don't get starstruck that much in this business. Melissa, I don't know how you feel about this, but I was nervous though to do almost a half an hour with Patrick Stewart because I'd never done that.
I believe the terminology is starstruck.
Or night struck.
But I mean, I've interviewed Shatner 3 times and I've never felt nervous. I know that sounds weird. I mean, in the beginning of my book, I talk about how he caught me off guard and how strange he is. But not the way I was actually okay, don't, I don't think I'll get to talk to Patrick Stewart for a long time about Star Trek because there won't be a new season of Picard coming out,
Yeah.
1 second.
Here's the other question. If you're a girl and you meet Sir Patrick, do you have to curtsy?
I was told in one junket, and I don't know, somebody can confirm or deny this. I was told once in one junket for either season 1 or season 2 of Picard that he does not like to be called Sir.
Okay.
And then immediately, and then the next day, everybody was calling him Sir on some other video.
Yeah,
thing.
I
was
can never tell.
They were somebody was don't do that, and so I've never done it. I've always said Patrick, which is weird.
He prefers your eminence.
Yeah. I don't know.
My
I
Well,
mean,
he prefers the Patrick.
the Patrick. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was joking with him about. I was like, my favorite thing was that he was just like, he was talking about. I can tell you what he talked about that won't be in the interview because it's not a spoiler. He was just talking about how he hopes that the sort of political messages of Picard are relevant again for people as a citizen of both, as somebody who lives in the UK but lives in America. And I was like, oh yeah, and he's like, I live in Southern California now. And I was like, yeah, but you used to live in Brooklyn. And he was like, oh yes, I met my wife in Brooklyn. I was like, I met my wife in Brooklyn too.
Wow.
That was like my big, but yeah, it's just I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of him being like a bad interview. I don't know. He doesn't have that reputation. You know what I mean? Like he just has like he's just a solid guy. I remember when I interviewed him very briefly for season 2 of Picard, I told him, I rambled about how I fell in love with A Christmas Carol because of him.
I wish I
Because
could've
that
seen
audio book that he did,
yeah, that was amazing.
because I'm 41, so I had that in like 3rd grade or something like that, and he was like, that's very meaningful to me, Ryan. Because I was like, I don't know if I would have gotten into Dickens.
I wish I could have seen his one
Oh,
man Christmas
I
Carol.
love
Oh.
Dickens.
Yeah, I just don't know if I would have, like, as a kid, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
if as a kid of what I've been listening to, like A Christmas Carol.
Right.
Like,
Wait, you never saw Scrooge McDuck?
well, I don't know, but there's
Diving into those coins
What's that-
doesn't
what's
seem
that-
physically
what-
possible.
what is that
Right?
last
Like you would just land on them. You wouldn't go through them.
what is it, Last Days of Disco, where she's like, I love Uncle Scrooge? Like, what is that? Is that Chloe Sevigny? Right? I'll find the clip and send it to you guys. It's from Last Days of Disco, the movie with there's like a scene where somebody pretends that they think Uncle Scrooge is hot. I was making a reference to something that only I was
That's
aware
amazing.
of.
Wow.
I'll find the YouTube clip. But I'll stop
or
talking
maybe
now.
it's
You
the
guys can
Bill
talk.
Murray
Yeah.
version of Scrooge.
Well-
'Cause I can't finding a duck hot and then finding
Howard the Duck, maybe.
No, in the
Yeah.
context of the movie, it's like she's trying to impress this guy who collects old Uncle Scrooge comics. So it's like this thing of where like he's like a bad person, but she's kind of trying to like be like Uncle Scrooge, yeah. I'm describing this very poorly. It's a great film, Last Days of Disco.
So can we hear more about this book that has made it to the New York Public Library, which is Iconics, fall picks for 2022, and Esquire's 2022 Books of the Year list, called Phasers on Stun! by Ryan Britt.
I fought for that exclamation point.
Good.
That's my favorite part.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, the book came out in May. The idea was that that I wanted to time it to the Wrath of Khan 40th. But also, as I was working on the book with my editor at Penguin Random House, specifically at Plume Dutton, she and I realized that it would also be coming out around the time Strange New Worlds was going to come out, which we didn't really know when I got the book deal. But yeah,
cool.
it's a book that I pitched during the pandemic. I pitched it. It was my second book. My first book was a very slim essay collection, so the same publisher. And yeah, it was just like my agent wasn't really a Star Trek fan. My editor is not really a Star Trek fan, but they were really taken with just like, I was like, guys, there's nothing like this in pop culture, and no one has written like a mainstreamy book up for like, because we're all getting these references that we're making, right? But like, there's a lot of people that are huge Star Trek fans that don't get every reference and might not know some of the things that are like kind of gospel to like hardcore fans. And so I kind of wanted to do like a fun, quirky, very subjective, not objective, sort of take, which is kind of what I do. That's kind of my style. And I'm really inspired by authors like Sarah Vowell and Chuck Klosterman. Those were people that when I first moved to New York and wanted to become a writer, were inspirations to me. So I had one very old school journalist sort of grill me about why there was so many personal anecdotes in the book. And I told him that I, like seeing Patrick Stewart on stage at a convention in Phoenix when I was like 10. for
Aw.
example. That's like in the book, right? That opens up my chapter on the next generation. And he's like, why are there so many memoir components? And I was like, well, I became a writer in my 20s by doing storytelling in New York City. And so that was sort of like how I learned to write nonfiction, was by doing story slams back before there was like a podcast for like The Moth or whatever. Like it was just like I would do, and so that led into journalism, and then that sort of led to the kind of books I do now. So
I
yeah,
love that like picture you tweeted out that was like a big stack of Star Trek books,
Yeah.
like the nonfiction ones that you drew from. So your book's on its way. That was like one of my holiday gifts.
oh
to myself.
cool, yeah, great. Well, yeah, well I
Oh,
can
I
send.
can't
I have,
wait.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean that was like, I'm doing an event at my local library in Portland, Maine here in a couple of weeks. And something that I always tell people that are like readers is that there are a lot of books inside my book, you know, and there are a lot of books inside Star Trek. And somebody who's like, you know, we were just talking about Patrick Stewart and Dickens, but you know, like same with like Nick Meyer and like Sherlock Holmes, right? Like I'm a big
Yes,
Sherlock
yes.
Holmes fanatic. And I've been corresponding with Nicholas Meyer for over a decade because of Sherlock Holmes. Like in 2010, I was doing an essay about Sherlock Holmes for a science fiction magazine, and I just like found his contact information, like basically cold called him. Like, would you do an interview about the connections between Sherlock Holmes and science fiction? He's like, I'd be glad to. And I've been corresponding with him ever since. I sent him a video of my daughter doing a or a Shatner impression. The other day, my daughter, let's see if I can find the video. She like, well, she stole these Playmates action figures from me. And so then to be clear, my 5-year-old has not seen The Wrath of Khan, to be clear, because I would be a bad parent if I was making her watch The Wrath of Khan at 5, because that would traumatize her.
Mom,
I can attest. I saw Wrath of Khan like 6 or 7 years old.
Really?
And the scene
Yeah.
with the bug going
Yes.
in Chekhov's ear, it's still like to this day.
Me
I'm
too.
mortally afraid of bugs going in
How
my
old
ear.
was
That's one of my
when I saw
first
The Wrath of
memories is
Khan?
that
Yes.
I've
imagery
only
of the
ever
thing in the
seen one
ear.
bug in someone's
Same.
ear in real life in the
It-
ER.
Okay, here. Let me see if I can.
What luck.
Oh, here. This is, I think, it. Here, I'll show this to you guys. This will be. I don't usually like put a bunch of pictures of my kid on. Can you see this?
oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. That's
She
the
was-
commercial for the toy.
So
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah. So she grabbed the Khan action figure and then she's like, "Let's make a video." And then she started screaming Khan. And
That's all you need to know is the con scream.
Right.
well, it is. I actually say that in the book. I'm like, people that don't know anything about Star Trek and they think that The Wrath of Khan is about Kirk screaming Khan and Spock dying have correctly intuited why the movie is great. Like that's actually is accurate. That is an accurate reason to like that movie.
Mm.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So
but
you-
yeah,
Well,
So-
let's
oh.
let's just get this news story out real quick that I think we
This
all have
awesome
thoughts
Prodigy?
on here. Not yet.
Okay.
It's from our good friends over at Paramount Plus. You may have heard of them.
Oh yes, we do have to mention this.
60% of us are wearing their clothing. And they say, quote, oh, this is just Paramount. They say, quote, boom. But below that is an image that says Paramount Plus gains most subscriber signups in a single day. Also, looks like they put out a press release kind of thing here. So that's pretty
It's
impressive.
because of Sylvester Stallone's new show. Something in
Tulsa?
Tulsa
Tulsa
King.
King.
It's
looks
probably a little
like.
yellow. It's probably Yellowstone too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, give Yellowstone a little credit, but it's also been really
Yes.
fun because
Yeah.
Stallone's been like around my neighborhood filming a bit in the past few months.
Ooh,
Well,
Nice.
But it's kind of awesome that Stallone is doing a TV show. I never thought that would happen. That's pretty cool. Makes
have
me
you
sit up
guys
and take
seen
notes.
Yellowstone or this
I've
Tulsa
seen
King
part of
thing
it.
yet?
No, I watched like an episode. I watched a few minutes of the first episode.
Okay.
It just seems
I'm-
so violent.
Everybody in the live chat, let us know if you have seen Yellowstone. I feel like everybody's saying it's really good, but
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
So
Let us
yeah,
know your thoughts.
I'm Yellowstone curious, right? Like I have a I'm an,
Yellowstone
I'm-
curious.
I'm an editor. In addition to many jobs, I'm an editor at Fatherly, which is another bustle brand in addition to Inverse. And
Oh, cool.
one of my freelancers is Ian Spelling, who's a longtime Star Trek journalist.
Oh yeah.
We
And
love Ian, yeah.
Ian frequently tells me that Yellowstone is great. And I'm like, okay, let's figure out a way to write about it for Fatherly. I just like can't, I haven't seen it. You know what I mean? He's always like, it's really good. And I'm like, all right, let's talk about
It
Yellowstone.
does have exquisite taste.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Yellowstone is apparently great. I'm kind of more into this like throwback one that Harrison Ford's gonna be in. I don't know. Like
Oh,
there's
that
like,
one looks really
Yeah.
cool.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of like I'm into that. Harrison Ford and Patrick Stewart have the same birthday, as we all know.
Oh, I did not know that.
July 13th, different years though.
Crazy.
They're like 3 years apart or something like that.
Wow.
They're like the same person secretly. Harrison Ford is in Picard season 3,
Yeah.
obviously. Harrison Ford plays
That's what I
he
heard.
plays an older version of who would Harrison Ford play on Star Trek? That would make no sense.
Han Solo.
Yeah.
Wesley
Han Solo.
Crusher.
Yeah.
Wesley
He's
Crusher.
yeah,
We're
then
gonna
with
do a-
no explanation.
Wait,
Zero
Jack
explanation.
Crusher finally comes back. Like one of the
Yeah,
all-time
like-
most
yeah.
pitches ever that were rejected.
It's just a Star Wars Star Trek crossover.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think it would be funny if he just played Picard's other brother that we never heard of. And he was just like, "Hi, John Luke," and he's like, "Hello, Han." He's just like mad at him.
Or he has a Star Wars
Listen,
holodeck
kid.
program.
Henry.
Right.
Or it could be
Right.
Henry, but it'd be the French spelling, right? Because because Henry Jones, right? So it'd be Henri, like
Except for
Henri.
Harrison,
Listen,
for
kid,
Harrison Ford,
we've got to
would
reverse
have,
the
an
polarization of this
American
thing.
accent.
Well, but Patrick Stewart has a British accent, and he's
I
and
know,
he's French, you know.
That
Picard's
would
French.
be the funny part of it is American and British accent playing Frenchman.
I think it'd be great. Yeah, that's what that. So that happens. Obviously, I'll spoil that. Yeah, he plays.
Well,
Picard.
Harrison Ford only has the one. Listen, kid, we got to reverse the polarity on this thing, or we're never getting to hyperspeed. That's all Harrison's got. Like that's his shtick, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess there's kind of like there's that, or there's like like frantic Harrison Ford. I guess that's
Right.
like, yeah, that's kind of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that Paramount Plus is actually like, I think that, you know, I remember as a journalist, just Ryan, to kind of piggyback on that news story, is that as a journalist, I've said this a lot in doing press for my book, is that one of the other reasons I did the book, Anne-Marie, was that I have been covering Discovery as a journalist since the beginning. You know, since like 2016, when like they were like, Nicholas Meyer's been hired. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna call Nicholas Meyer and get a scoop for Den of Geek, which I did. You know, and like I didn't like break any spoilers or anything like that. But like I've been like in 2017 though, I was an entertainment editor at Inverse and full time. And I remember just the mood towards CBS All Access was just real negative in media in general. And for various understandable reasons, right? There wasn't a lot of offerings. It was kind of strange to have a Star Trek show going straight to streaming. But I gotta say that like that streaming bias feels sort of foolish now. You know what I mean? Because
like
now
Peacock and like some of the others that are all doing it.
yeah, like if like what if Lucasfilm had been bought by like Universal, and The Mandalorian had been like a sci-fi channel show that like streamed on like the Sci-Fi Channel app. You know what I mean? Like, would people have been mad? You know, I don't know. I just feel like that there was this thing in like somewhere around 2015 where like if sci-fi things weren't on really easy to find streaming services, there was like this weird mainstream pushback, you know. But it was like in 2013, you'd steal something to watch Doctor Who. Like you'd figure it out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You would just like, or Battlestar Galactica, you just figure it out. You'd figure out how to watch it.
That's me trying to find out how to watch these like Doctor Who, like Children in Need or whatever, like snippets.
Oh yeah, the
I just got into it like a few months ago.
Oh yeah. I'm doing a retrospective on some Doctor Who stuff tomorrow.
Oh, for Doctor Who Day tomorrow, which
is tomorrow.
Doctor Who Day to all who observe.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's their 59th anniversary.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy.
I think if you go back and look at like the legacy of like Star Trek and like how hardcore the fans are, you know, hear stories about people like watching the original Star Trek and be like, I didn't have a color TV at my house, so we all went over to Bob's house and watched the show. And because it was this thing, it was like, people so like die
an
hard
event.
about. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, for sure.
this is in my book, but the original Star Trek aired on the BBC like in between the end of like the Hartwell and Troughton eras. So like while people were waiting for a new Doctor Who, all of the original Star Trek was aired in syndication on the BBC. I don't remember the exact years, but I wrote it down in my book. Like Indiana Jones' father says, I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to remember. But yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot of, there's those great photographs of Peter Capaldi as a young man at Star Trek conventions in the UK. There's a lot of crossover there.
Lots of EMH pictures coming out from London Comic-Con this week with the different doctors who like
nice
with the different Doctor Who doctors who he's like come across while he's walking the floor. So
yeah, so all the doctors are in Picard season 3. Christopher Eccleston, they're all back. David Tennant is in Picard season 3. What if David Tennant was in an episode that I hadn't seen? Like that would be bad.
That would be so amazing.
I would get in so much trouble. Yeah.
Well, guys, we have a new poll in the live chat here. The question is, what's the better Harrison Ford role? Is it Han Solo, Indiana Jones, or The Fugitive or whatever? Right? It was like The Fugitive or some shit that he was in.
Whatever.
Blade Runner.
One of
The
those
answer
things.
is Blade Runner.
I know Blade Runner is the
Well, they
best
can-
one.
They can enter that in the other
Whatever.
section. In the whatever section. Let's steer forward all the way to the year 2000.
Woohoo.
That's an old Conan O'Brien reference. Remember when he would
In
say
the
that?
year
There it is.
2000.
So we've got this here. Also, this is actually from our friends at Star Trek on Paramount Plus. Can we celebrate the cast of Star Trek Discovery for a minute before the holographic displays are added in with post-production? They have nothing to interact with, and they nail it. So this is, I guess, a
That's such a
before
cool
picture
picture.
right here. I bet that's
Steadicam.
Michael Burnham. I bet that's Book. Scott Baker is an avid Steadicam operator. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
you recognize that
Guys.
rig? Do you know what that is?
It looks like let's scroll down a bit. It's a weird configuration. It looks like partially a pro rig, but he's got the wave on top. You scroll up, I can tell you what arm he's got. He definitely has a pro arm with the Walter
Furry.
Clausen back mount
Pro
vest.
arm.
Yeah, a pro's a brand. It's like a GPI Pro is the brand, but people just call it Pro. But yeah, and he's flying. That's an Alexa Airy Mini.
Obviously, everybody knows that, right? With the pro arm.
He's flying
Looks
that bad
like
boy.
those
Furry.
are Zeiss. They're probably like Primo Primes or something like that they're running. But yeah, it's got the little half crescent thing underneath of
This thing.
the camera. Yeah, that's called a wave, and that keeps the camera like perfectly upright. Doesn't matter if the rig like shifts left or right, the horizon of the camera will stay completely straight.
Wow.
That's really cool. Keeps
Yeah.
it steady, I bet. And
Yeah.
Book is
Mhm.
demonstrating right there how that works.
This is so cool. Because it just like it's so flawless in the actual show. It just blows my mind seeing these kind of pictures.
I love David Ajala. I think he's the best,
Mhm.
one of the best additions to that
So
cast.
so agree.
Mhm.
He's wonderful.
Mhm.
He's also, I don't know if you guys ever had him on, talk to him. He's really cool.
Not on this show,
You
no.
need to.
Yeah, he's really
Please.
yeah. Because that was a weird season, because it came out during, like hardcore quarantine. You know what I mean? So I feel like that and like the first season of Lower Decks, I feel like that was like a really weird era. They didn't get like, I don't know. I feel like David Ajala doesn't get enough love. As much as the Discovery fans love him, I feel like they don't love him enough. He's great. He's really good.
He gets overshadowed by the cat. Is why.
The cat, right? By
That's
Greg.
actually
Yeah,
true, though.
That's
Like,
true.
it's more than a joke. That's
Oh my
actually
God.
kind of
Okay.
true.
that
it
actually
seems.
might be. Yeah, right. Scott, you're 100%.
Actually, am
right.
I allowed to say I'm a huge cat lover? I love cats. I think they're wonderful. And I'm like not that sold on Grudge. I know they're trying to
So-
convince us that Grudge is like the cutest thing. I'm like, Spot is already cuter than Grudge in my opinion, but like Grudge just doesn't quite do it for me.
This
Am I
kind
wrong?
of reminds me when we had our virtual TrekCon 3 Lappy Awards of
Yes.
2022, or sorry,
Which, by the way, thanks for
2021.
bringing that up. We're going to have to
Yeah,
announce one of the
next
categories
category.
for that soon.
But,
That is the very
um,
first Star Trek Awards show ever. It's live. We did the first one this last February or March. And this
March.
next
March.
one is going to be February 18th, I believe, on 2023. So mark your calendars
Last
for
time
that.
We had 3 or 4 showrunners, Michelle Nichols, like star-studded, accepting awards. And
Everybody,
announcing
people were banging
Mhm.
down our door and
Yes.
we're like, sorry guys, we don't
Yes.
have enough room for everybody. Okay, Tim Russ, yes, you, yes, you
There's always
know.
room for Tim Russ.
Anyway,
but
but please continue.
So basically, obviously, as we talk about all the time, it's all fans vote, and that's how the categories are, or the finalists are determined, and then from there, that's how the winners are determined. But there was one category which was like, I think it was best new character, something like that, for Discovery for the past year, and we weren't accepting Grudge, and people kept adding Grudge, and then Grudge would like creep up, and then we would remove Grudge, and within like 2 hours, Grudge would be back added and creeping up again. It was just like the amount
Creep is
of,
right.
Yeah, the amount of like Grudge obsession was very. I mean, it wasn't surprising or shocking because we could all see it, but I mean, that was real.
No, when
So-
you mix great writing and undeniable acting talent, it's really it's hard to it's hard to
Yes.
look at.
Yes.
I heard Grudge is great at finding the light, like kind of leans
He always
into it.
gets his mark. He's
Yeah.
the best actor since that rat in Deep Space Nine, like the season 2
Yeah.
opener in the cargo bay, who's Odo.
Having been on set with some well-trained actor, like well-trained animals, I will say some of them are better than the humans. Like you just like you put the little
Feeling
thing,
attacked.
the little treat, and the animal goes right there and does exactly what you want it to
Oh,
do
maybe the
every
people need a
single
treat.
time.
Yes,
And the
Scott.
people they're just like,
That's
oh, well, I
craft
want to stand over
services.
here, and I feel like my character would walk off over there, and you're like, no, come back and
No, just
No,
put a
no.
cupcake at the end of their mark.
right, yeah.
But the reason we bring up Prodigy, I don't know if everybody has heard the news, but the big news is that Star Trek Prodigy season 5 has wrapped production. They've shot it all.
Discovery.
Sorry, what did I say?
Prodigy.
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 okay.
We'll talk about more
It would
Prodigy.
be really
later.
interesting
Everybody-
if Star Trek Prodigy
That's
season
next.
5 had wrapped. That would be
I
know.
unbelievable.
They
I was
may.
like, what?
We've been talking about Prodigy so much recently. It's time to take a break from that and talk about Discovery. They deserve it. Season 5 has finished production. So that'll be coming out, at some point in 2023. Look, everybody's there. They're toasting some kind of peculiar beverage here.
Mhm.
But this is from our good friends over at trekmovie.com. I think it was announced initially by Michelle Paradise, right? On Twitter.
Pasto
Yes.
Tornado.
It's just so good to see Mary Wiseman back. I was very worried for a little while.
I know. Mary Wiseman is she is perhaps my favorite Discovery character.
I think so. too.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that that Galileo 7 homage in season 4 was just wonderful, where she's on the shuttle pod with the cadets. I thought that episode just rocked. I wrote an essay about that for StarTrek.com about how it was like paralleling Spock's journey and trying to be in command, and Tilly's sort of with the cadets, and how that, and the director of the episode said, oh yeah, we were totally doing Galileo 7. We were trying to make it a really classic.
That was my favorite, I think.
I think that may have been my favorite episode of that season. Mary Wiseman is just like, her comic timing is just, she has a very small bit part in Marriage Story, the Noah Baumbach film.
Now I need to see it.
Yeah, she's a very bit part she's like an actor with like Adam Driver is like done a play, but she's in a scene with Wallace Shawn. And I was like, are you aware that Wallace Shawn was on Deep Space Nine? And she was like, no. And
Wait, what? She and Noah are doing in Deep Space Nine what?
Yeah.
This was like 2.5 years ago or whatever. Like this was like
Uh,
whenever
yeah.
that movie was out. This was like Discovery, this was like whenever that was. I think I was interviewing for like Short Treks or something.
Amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, it was whenever Marriage Story was out, whenever all those memes were going around. But I was like, I was like the only person. I was like, she's from Star Trek.
That's awesome.
And that's the Grand Nagus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Check this out. So here's, I think this was the original tweet. This is Michelle Paradise, showrunner of Star Trek Discovery. She says, and that's a wrap on Star Trek Discovery season 5.
That graphic.
Every season, I'm in awe of what our team is able to accomplish, and I dare say this was our most ambitious yet. But check this out. In this little video here, that looks like Eve England's gingerbread discovery, doesn't it?
It
Oh,
does.
yeah, it does.
Look at
It
that.
looks edible.
Yum.
So fun. I can't wait to
Does
see it.
Eve's do that thing too?
It can.
She's
Maybe.
She's stepped up her game, her gingerbread game.
Okay, yeah. So compare that to. Hang on, I'm going to pull this up. Compare that discovery to this one, right? I mean, it's pretty similar.
It's pretty awesome.
Her gingerbread discovery. Everybody knows this because we're like obsessed with this. And look at
I
there's
know.
her
It's basically
gingerbread
all of our
discovery
background.
crew. Yeah. Anyway, pretty soon she's gonna be
How
like,
many- how
"Will
many
you guys stop
tabs do
talking
you-
about my gingerbreads?"
How many tabs do you have
All
open
the
there, Ryan?
time.
There's a lot of news this week.
There's
There are
a lot
like
of
40
news,
news
actually.
items. Okay, good. Well, I think I killed it with the gingerbread talk. People are like, we don't
Now
know where
we're
to go
all
with
just
that.
hungry. Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah.
No, I just want gingerbread.
Mike, well, we have a cat. We have a cat named Gingerbread. So every time you guys say that, I'm thinking of our.
Aw.
We have two
Aw.
cats. And yeah. So I keep thinking of. Whenever you say, I hear my daughter being like Gingerbread, because that's a cat in my house that looks kind of like Spot. Well, one incarnation of Spot.
Oh, the
you
male
know,
Female or
female.
male version of Spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Porthos is assimilated by the Borg in Star Trek Picard season 3.
Suddenly the Borg are obsessed with cheese.
With cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the best.
you know,
That's the underrated Star Trek pet, though, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Spot or Porthos.
I love Porthos. I mean,
Porthos
Spot is,
was
Porthos.
cute.
Spot's hilarious, but Porthos deserved an ode.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about like because Janeway had a dog back on Earth.
Oh yeah, with Martin.
Molly is the
Molly,
dog,
yeah.
which is weird because we were talking about Molly O'Brien earlier. And
And
then
Scott just took Molly yesterday. So that all full circle. Took some Molly.
Wow.
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. Yeah.
As he drinks his tea.
Like
Good tea. Nice Molly.
It's not tea. It's not tea.
Picard
Aw.
had a fish. Cisco didn't have a pet because
Yeah.
he was too busy.
Livingston.
He had a child.
He had a
Yeah, he
child.
He did
I
have a
mean,
child.
Yeah, but I guess that I don't know. But
There
who
was
did?
no way Jake was ever taking like a dog out. He wouldn't even clean.
Yeah. It's funny that it feels like it would be harder to have a pet on Deep Space Nine than it would be on the Enterprise, even though it should be reversed.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like
there'd always be like the cats would be like eating the voles. I guess there was Chester on Deep Space Nine.
Mhm.
oh
Only
yeah,
for like what was it one
No,
episode or
he's-
two?
No, because then like when you watch, he'll be
But
like
they
in the
live
background
with
of some
them.
shots in other episodes.
But I never saw him. I saw him the second time when they like picked him up or something.
Well,
I never
when
saw him in the
Keiko was
background.
mean to him.
Yeah,
He's in
that one
Few episodes.
pissed me off.
does nobody has pets on the new shows? Well, Picard has the
Grudge.
dog. Grudge, right? Well, we said
Oh,
other
yeah,
than
number
Grudge.
one.
Murph is kind of a
Murph
pet.
is a pet. Picard has the dog. Number 1. Are there? Wait, now I'm thinking the opposite. Now I'm like there are more pets on the new shows than the old shows.
I guess maybe Strange New World. Oh, Strange New World.
Tendi
sort
has
of
the
had,
dog.
Like when
Tendi
Lon
does
was like the princess, she kind of had her dog Rona.
That was her real dog, right?
Yeah,
that
it
was her real dog.
But she was
Christina
just
Chong's real
posting
dog.
actual photo shoots with the dog this week, which are so cute.
Yeah, that counts. So wait, so yeah, every new Star Trek show. Well, Discovery just didn't start with any pets. Well, Ripper
Mm.
kind of. Ripper was kind of a pet.
Yeah. Just got a little
They
out
had
of
a
control.
Gormagander, but did they keep it?
My daughter is obsessed with the short treks Ephraim and Dot, so I think of Ripper as the same tardigrade sometimes, even though it's not.
That's
Love
adorable.
that.
Um,
I love Ripper.
yeah,
That's such a
And,
good show.
and I love the transforms. They were kind of, well, they weren't pets, but they were
Wait.
kind of.
There was
Oh, also, she knows Khan from that short trek.
there in season 1 there was the Tribble on
Lorca had a
his-
Tribble.
Yep.
Yeah, he had a
Yep.
Tribble.
Oh, yeah.
Lorca had the Tribble. Yeah, there you go. That
And
counts.
Edward Larkin.
Mhm.
Edward Larkin had the Tribble as well. Yeah, lot
And
of
Noel until Noel ate them. Yeah.
many. Yeah.
So since we were talking about Picard, this is another thing that we haven't really discussed much recently. It's been like all Prodigy and Lower Decks because they've been dropping those new episodes. But check this out about Star Trek Picard. This TrekMovie.com interviews Jonathan Frakes, who says Picard season 3 has a lot of Riker, and he hopes to do more Star Trek.
Cool.
Okay.
Actually, he just did also, I'll plug it because it was part of the interview. He did a fundraiser for pancreatic. I can't remember the official name of the fund, but if you check Jonathan Frakes' Twitter, you can- I
Pancreatic
think it's
Cancer Action Network.
Network. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think the link is still available to like donate and see like some really awesome content
Mhm.
from this past week.
So
Yeah,
Ryan, I'm not sure if you can comment on this. If you know how much Riker is
true.
in
Well,
Picard.
he said in that interview, I was actually like, when I saw the interview came out, I was like, oh man, because I had been sitting on this one that I did about a month ago that doesn't come out until next week. Yeah, I mean, he's in the whole show. He's in the whole season. He said that though. That's not, he says it in that Trek movie interview as well,
Mhm.
that he goes 10 out of 10. So he said that to
Wow.
me. That's not like something that I'm breaking.
I love that lingo. Going
That's
10
what he
out of
said. But
10.
I mean, the thing that'll be in this Den of Geek piece that comes out next week is that he was just telling me, and when I tweet it out, I'll tag you guys on it. But yeah, I mean, he was taken aback by Terry Metalis kind of, and he again said this in that Trek movie piece, that he said similar wording to me, that the wording he said to me was, Metalis came to him and was like, are you ready to play Riker? Are you really ready to play Riker? And he was like, yeah, I've been back as Riker, since, Picard
I've been
season
running
1,
upstairs of art
I mean,
museums.
Jonathan Frakes has been more
He's been
involved
doing
with-
his lunges to practice
I've
his.
been-
his leg
So,
over.
yeah, he's been yelling red alert to the Discovery cast since 2018, 2017 when he was directing those episodes. So, but yeah, I mean, Riker is he's in the whole show. He's really important. You've never seen anything like what they're doing with it though. It's not like it was with season 1. But what I will say is that the continuity that was created by Michael Chabon and Kirsten Beyer for Riker and Troy from season 1 is really important. It's not like we're suddenly dealing with like a reboot like version of Riker. It is that version of Riker from Picard season 1. So
Pizza party.
Love that.
So if you like, and Terry Metalis talked to me about this a lot, is he was like, the emotional beats in this season come from the other 2 seasons. And there are certain moments where I'd go, you could just watch Picard if you didn't like Picard season 1 and 2, and we all have our various, quibbles with everything that, well, it's all Star Trek. But there are emotional beats in season 3 of Picard that wouldn't work without seasons 1 and 2. So
Nice.
right, it is Riker. It's not like Lower Decks Riker. It's like Riker. But it's like Riker from this era. Yeah, I've never seen, Jonathan Frakes directs some episodes. That's not a secret. I think I've just never seen him
I think he
better
said
acting.
he directed episodes 3 and 4, if I remember correctly, on this
Yeah, and
article.
that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 and 4.
But I mean, like, he's also in them a lot. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's different than some other episodes he's directed of Star Trek lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here's his funny quote. He says, 10 Rikers. There's one episode where I only have a brief scene, but I'm in all 10. I don't know why that's
So
funny, but
cool.
it's
Awesome.
10 Rikers rather than one Riker in 10 episodes. But
It kind of reminds me of Avery Brooks when he's directing an episode of Deep Space Nine, and he's, maybe got a line in it, but that's because he's directing an episode.
Well, the
Kinda
two that
cool. I
Frakes
love that
directs,
stuff.
the two that Frakes directs in this season, he's in a lot. It's not like
Oh.
he's in a lot of the ones that he directs.
Oh wow.
They're like Riker centric
nice.
things. It is like
Very
it's
cool.
not. It's like yeah, I thought that too going in, but it's not that. It's like
Wow.
he is
Cool.
like it's not. Yeah, there's like it's structured differently than the other seasons. I'll say that. Like it's not exactly structured exactly like the other seasons are, but it's still structured the way that the new shows are structured. It's not like Strange New Worlds or something like that, right? Like it's not like standalone episodes. But it's just different. It's just a different. It is a little bit of a soft reboot of the show. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It does feel. In the way that even season 2 felt really different, right? Where they changed the theme music and they changed the opening credits and you had a different vibe. This is yet again another different thing. But it's my favorite of all three so far.
Nice.
It's not so far. I mean, I don't think there's
Nice.
gonna be a 4, but I could be
Nice.
wrong.
Well,
there.
I just
Real
mean because I
quick,
haven't seen all of it.
we have
Yeah.
Chuck A. Right. You're right. We have Chuck A. who's leaving the live chat, but he said he just tested positive for COVID and his wife did
no.
too. So best of luck there, Chuck. Rest up. Hope you feel better real soon. But yeah, you're right. That's what you meant is so far from what you've seen, this
Yeah.
is your favorite. Got it.
Because
Okay.
like I thought that like I really like season 2 as well, but I don't think that I think I still like season 1 more than season 2 for me. I'm a really big Michael Chabon fan, and I've talked to him many times. He's one of my favorite novelists, so I really like what he was doing and trying to do with season 1. So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of Riker in the show, though. I mean, I just don't think Jonathan Frakes has ever done acting quite like this. It's not.
Ooh,
It's not
intriguing.
really. Yeah, it's just like a really powerful performance. That's all I can say.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Oh, I hope
Yeah.
Kester
Nice.
doesn't die.
Oh my God, I'm gonna
Um,
cry. All of it.
It's not like that. Yeah, it's not like
Okay.
that. It's not like kind of thing.
What a relief.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Yeah, what happens is Thomas Riker comes back.
Yeah,
and
right.
he,
Troy can't handle another Kester.
And what
dying,
happens
that's for
is
sure.
there's a jazz competition, and it's really intense.
And
and
one
the
of
whole
them
thing,
actually plays Night
And what? Yeah. And for some reason, Harrison Ford plays Thomas Riker, and it's just not explained. I'm back,
Awesome.
Will.
That's funny.
And then they go to
Here's-
Pulaski and Kyle Riker's wedding.
No
Yeah.
Pulaski.
Yeah.
Here's a little one more little snippet on
Right.
Picard here. A very quick item. From Trek Central tweeting out preview Star Trek Picard season 3 soundtrack. Showrunner Terry Matalas posts a preview of the soundtrack for Star Trek Picard season 3, featuring the score by composer Barton, who is
Stephen Barton from 12
Stephen
Monkeys.
Barton.
He did. Yeah. Have you guys watched 12 Monkeys? Anybody watch the
Me
sci-fi
too,
12 Monkeys?
since there's clearly so much
The movie or
crossover
the
with,
show?
like, the crew.
The sci-fi show.
I saw the movie with what's his name? Brad
Bruce
Pitt or
Willis.
something, right?
Yeah. So
Bruce Willis.
I'm gonna preach if you want to have a fun project
Doesn't break.
before Star Trek Picard season 3, you should binge 12 Monkeys, because you will be
Oh.
rewarded in Star
Mm.
Trek season. Well, even Picard season 2, you'll suddenly realize
Yeah.
there's a bunch of 12 Monkeys references in that as well. But Star Trek Picard season 3 has a lot of 12 Monkeys references, because Terry Matalas was the showrunner and producer on the Sci-Fi Channel 12 Monkeys. And the relationship that the Sci-Fi Channel 12 Monkeys has to the film is the exact relationship that the Sci-Fi Battlestar Galactica has to the 78 Battlestar Galactica. It's not the same at all. It is its own thing. The first couple episodes of the Sci-Fi Channel 12 Monkeys might be a little bit like, you're like, I'm not sure about this. This is a little bit too dark. It's about a pandemic and time travel, so it's a little bit like, like maybe a little triggering. But by the time you get going on that show, you will be blown away by how underrated and how great it is. I was watching it as it was airing, and then I kind of dropped off because I had a kid and I was busy. And then I kind of picked it back up right before it ended, and I was covering it a little bit at Inverse, and it ended. And then I rewatched it before Picard season 2, and I just couldn't stop binging it. It's so good. And what you'll see is that what is that's, you know, because Matalas worked on Voyager and Enterprise, but then you'll see where his writing style really comes from when you watch 12 Monkeys, particularly like season 3 and 4. And, you know, this is a show that, you know, the reason why James Callis is in Picard season 2, Battlestar Galactica's James Callis, is because he's in 12 Monkeys. And he has a really big part in that. But yeah, I would say that, like, if you want to get ready for Picard I mean, 12 Monkeys is also like 4 seasons. It's so much. It's a wonderful, it's the most underrated contemporary sci-fi show that is no longer airing.
Wow.
In
I'll
my
check that
opinion.
out.
It's
Wow.
wonderful. And yeah, and if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll get rewarded in February.
I feel like every
And-
time I'm following like a crew person on New Picard, like their bio has 12 Monkeys in it. So I'm like so
Well,
fascinated by this.
So Stephen Barton was the composer for 12 Monkeys season 3 and 4. He's a video game composer that Terry Matalas brought on midway through that
cool.
show and took over as composer. Though his score for Picard season 3 sounds nothing like his other scores, interestingly. It's much more like, and this Terry has said this, it's much more like Jerry Goldsmith and James Horner. And it does sound like that. It does sound, and even like, I even think it sounds like Jerry Goldsmith from like Alien at times, like not even like, and then also Jerry Goldsmith from, you know, Star Trek the Motion Picture and stuff like that. But yeah, and it's even got some like Star Trek 6 notes in the music's different, right? It's not the Jeff Russo score from the 2 previous seasons. It is very different. Yeah, I would say it's like, yeah, it's kind of like the difference between like when they like brought Hans Zimmer to do the new Bond movie. It's like that's what it feels like for Picard season 3. It feels like
that clip is just gorgeous. And if you notice, like on one of the screens in the recording room, you can see the Artemis, like in flight. I was just like, that's such a cool touch of inspiration to the people making it. Just
it's
blown away.
But yeah, you'll see there's a lot of folks on season 2 and season 3 that Matalas brought over from 12 writers too, in the writers room too.
Oh, well, I'll definitely be checking that out.
But you know what else people can do to prepare for Picard is that the 7th rule is we'll start the Next Generation reviews.
That's a good point.
January 1st will be the first episode launch, and there's just a few hours left still for the Indiegogo. So,
But who's going to be reviewing that?
along with Sirach Lofton and Ryan T. Husk, special guest Denise Crosby, Tasha Yar
I can't
herself,
even wait. I can't
That's
even
going to
wait.
be so
be-
fun.
reviewing her episodes. So that'll so much fun. Can't
That's
wait.
like 22 straight weeks of
Yeah.
Tasha.
That
That's what
Jewel.
Picard calls her Tasha and all good things. I was just
Yeah.
with Tasha.
Oh God.
That's
I
like
can't even
that.
answer
Yeah, that's like how some people call Han Solo Han.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
later.
today on the Star Trek logs for Prodigy, Janeway read hers out and she said Ocampa instead of Ocampa.
Oh man.
And I was like, it was amazing. Which I was kind of like, my headcanon is that she went to visit Indiana to see family. And sometimes when I go to Wisconsin, I pick up my accent again. So I was like, maybe she's just been to Indiana in the interim. And so now she's talking with a little bit of a Midwestern like flair. And that's the reason she
That
said
must-
Ocampa.
That
Yeah.
must be it. Yeah.
Well, you know,
Hey.
I watch oh, sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say, I know we only have you for a little bit more time, Ryan. So I
20
want
20
to
minutes
get,
or so. Yeah.
I want to get onto something that you tweeted out a little bit ago. Check this out, everybody. So he says, thanks to writer Good Aaron, we all know and love Aaron J. Waltke, for chatting with me about the latest Star Trek Prodigy and how it ties into some very fascinating Star Trek original series lore. Your questions about All the World's a Stage are all answered here. What can you tell us about that article without too many spoilers? I think we've had a little bit of time.
That was 2 weeks episodes ago.
2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
right,
yeah, almost 2
Yeah.
weeks.
I like to always do little interviews with the writers of the new shows weekly if I can. Like if Paramount, I have a really great relationship with the people at Paramount CBS Publicity, and I have since 2017. They're really, really great. They work really hard. something I've found that I probably am a nuisance, but I just like to send email questions, because then the writers I find will sometimes send you these really great responses that then are like article ready. You know, you could just kind of put them into an article really quickly. And I think Aaron has emailed before questions back to me, but I just kind of wanted to know how the shuttlecraft, in the episode there's a question about a shuttlecraft and a question about a character from the original series, and how, like, basically they created headcanon to make that episode work.
Oh,
And
awesome.
I just kind of wanted to know how they did that. And I will say that the writers of all the new shows, and this is true of like Davey Perez on Strange New Worlds as well, or Mike McMahon on Lower Decks, you know, they're always like, they're so smart in the way they approach their own canon, and they're both flexible, but also like there is an answer. You know what I mean? Like they're not, their their answer is never there's no answer. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
have an answer. But they're flexible on like how we can interpret it. So yeah, I think can I say like the name of the shuttle in that episode?
Oh yeah, so like I'll just preface it by saying that since I've read the interview and saw him when he came on the Seventh Rule to talk with Sirach and Bonnie Gordon and Ryan about the episode, like it fills in even more data about obedience and the character and everything. So it's just amazing how Aaron Wolke like really, he has so much to say and so much thought process that like you can never get enough of it for every week. And so
yeah, I think that like the thing with all of them and the Hagemans, who are the showrunners of Prodigy too, they think pretty hard about this stuff in terms of like, you know, where it all connects. I gotta say, Prodigy continues to impress me with how tightly knit it is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I always like to talk to the writers of the new shows as much as I can, because they love to talk about what they're doing, and they're doing great work, I think, too.
And it's nice to get writers that are passionate about Star Trek, that are actual Star Trek fans and have immersed themselves in the universe to bring Star Trek fans Star Trek.
Well, and again, I'll say that that's true of Terry for season 3 of Picard. Like, that is Terry. Like, he is like, you know, he knows. But it's also true, you know, Mike McMahon's that way too. They're different, you know. I don't know if you folks know this. I wrote this in like one article like last year, and I noticed that like it never didn't get picked up at all. But Mike McMahon punched up scripts for Strange New Worlds. Like, he did. This is not a secret.
Know that?
He told me this in an interview I was doing about Lower Deck season 3, and he was like, I was like, I feel like that there's some Lower Deck. He's like, oh, you should know that there's some Lower Decks feelings in Strange New Worlds, because I did a few punch ups on Spock Amok and some other scripts. So like,
that's awesome.
So like, there's a lot of you know, they talk a lot about stuff. You know what I mean? Like the not a lot. Like, the shows don't cross over as much, but you know, Akiva Goldsman like was giving scripts of Strange New Worlds to McMahon, and now Jonathan Frakes has directed this Lower Decks crossover with Strange New Worlds.
So cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I'm seeing in the live chat, I don't know what I missed by not scrolling up above, but our good buddy Scott Jensen, the 13th Guldu Scott, says, hit up that Indiegogo right away. He must be talking about hours, because there's like
it's
6
good
hours
holiday
left.
shopping. I'm just gonna say that like you can for a pretty low price, you can get like people actual
for the
Zooms,
low price.
no CODs, but like you can, terms and restrictions apply. You can get Zooms with actually Sirach and Denise Crosby, and it's so much fun. And like starting out with just even one a month, and they're over an hour, and it's just like a really cool, chill way to hang out. And I mean, it's Tasha Yar. I'm like so starstruck. I can't even stand it.
Well, and it's a great way for
her dying.
Oh, sorry.
No.
No, but it's also a great way for giving the gift of memories to people, and not just more stuff. We're creating memories in every episode, and the community of the Seventh Rule is incredible. You won't find a more positive group of people.
Oh, it's because Matt Boardman in there is saying, looking forward to the seventh rule reviewing the next generation. He's created some pretty awesome things that we hope to be able to show
on
everybody.
Discovery.
He's great on
Right.
visual
Yeah.
effects. Oh, well, yeah, that's right. An actual real Star Trek, not just for us.
Actually, Discovery. Yeah.
Not just for us.
Oh, I thought you
You
were going to
wanna
follow
go?
that.
Well,
I thought you were
was
going to
say,
follow that
I'm getting
with
really
some
excited
words.
about the Lappy Awards. I know there's like a little more news, but want to announce the category
Yes, that's a great
right
idea
now?
because you were just talking about Strange New Worlds. So,
Mhm.
and here's the thing, everybody knows it's like the Star Trek Awards. It's like the Emmys for Star Trek, Live Long and Prosper Awards. Scott Baker over here creates amazing graphics for it, and then he goes like, "That's a dumb idea," but he does it anyway, which is really
The best idea.
like he hated this idea with all. He's like, "I don't know, I'll try," but it doesn't sound like a good idea to me. So we've announced some of the categories. Should we? No, I don't have it open. Anyway, we've announced some of the categories already. That's going to be in February during Virtual TrekCon 4. And this category that we are announcing this week will be the most rewatchable episode of Strange New Worlds. So obviously there are 10 options. This is going to be an easy one. There are
It's
not going to
so
be like a
hard.
million options like
Yeah.
where people kept throwing in Grudge. There are 10 options, 10 episodes. This is the most rewatchable episode, and this is for all of 2022. So that will be episodes 1 through 10 of season 1 of Strange New Worlds. You don't have to have seen Strange New Worlds,
Right.
but it would help.
I mean,
Or
you
you
should
could go by
check
the
out
title.
Spock Amok.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Spock Amok's gonna win, but I wonder how many Spock Amok came out the same week my book came out, which I was super happy about. But I wonder how many times do you all rewatch the new episodes, like when they come out? Like how often?
I
I'm
mean,
curious.
Picard I rewatch a ton just because I love it's like seeing old friends. And
Yeah.
I'd say Strange New Worlds, I've rewatched a couple times now. It just that
Strange
feels
New
like
Worlds seems like it is
immensely
the
rewatchable.
most rewatchable of the series. Maybe I'm wrong there, but it seems like it's the most rewatchable because each individual episode is it's kind of its own thing, where it's like, for example, like Picard and Discovery, you kind of need to watch the whole season again. You know what I mean? You can't just like drop in one particular
Well,
episode.
I have Star Trek playing 24/7 to keep out the street noise.
sure do.
So it's different.
I think
Also
Lower
Lower
Decks
Decks.
is definitely rewatchable.
I kind of agree with Scott. Like I found, so like as a journalist and like critic, I've realized that this is strange and bizarre, is that I tend to watch each episode at least 3 times before it comes out. And I used to do for Den of Geek, and I don't do this anymore because they're really unwieldy and they take a long time and the return on investment is sort of low. But I used to do like a detailed Easter egg list in print for like every single episode. And I think I did it up until like Lower Deck season 3 or season 2.
I used to read those.
Yeah, so
That's
I'm
fun.
gonna do like video scripts for another website next year. I think it's I can't remember now. But I'm gonna do some Picard Easter eggs for another website, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna write a script for somebody else and they're gonna do it for video. But like, I don't know. I watch these episodes a ton. Like sometimes I'll be like, okay, am I gonna watch All the World's a Stage like for the 3rd time this week or whatever, whatever episode is out.
Yes.
So I think that with Strange New Worlds is funny because I feel like Spock Amok's going to win this poll because I feel like it's the
It
standout.
might have my vote. Yeah.
But then I'm
mine
kind of like, because I've rewatched these so many times. Like I interviewed Anson Mount for Esquire for the season finale of Strange New Worlds,
Ooh, I love
which
that.
was really great. I got to do like 45 minutes with Anson, and it was like amazing. And he's the best. You know what I mean? Like
He's so Esquire.
He's also so
Yeah.
down. He's also so down to earth. Like he's
Mhm.
exactly like, you do feel like you're in his living room, and you do feel like he's with you. And but like I got the finale a couple weeks ahead, which is not uncommon for a journalist and a critic. but I had COVID when I got the finale. So I was watching and I was like, is this Balance of Terror? What's my fever like right now? You know, it was nuts. It was crazy. And so then I remember a couple weeks passed and I was going to do the interview and I was like, okay, now I need to watch this again. And it was weird. In a way, I almost wonder if as a hardcore fan, if that one is the most rewatchable, which is weird because it's the most continuity heavy.
Really good.
You know, it's the most continuity heavy, but it's also and I don't know. I know everybody gave Paul Wesley a hard time, but I follow him on Instagram and he seems cool.
He does seem nice and into it.
Yeah.
Well, there's that
so
at least.
So I guess is how do we differentiate? What's your favorite episode from?
Yeah,
what's the most
but that's what I
rewatchable?
mean.
Is there a criteria in there?
You know, I think that's going to be up to the voter. The power is with you, voters at home. What's the most rewatchable? Could be which one is the one you're enjoying the most, or it could be you just putting on your objective critic hat and saying, well, this one's my favorite, but I think this episode, follows some formula that I think is best for rewatchability, like the Trouble with Tribbles or Trials and Tribulations, or the one where that guy says tribbles are like meatballs. Anything with tribbles, basically.
Or More Tribbles, More Troubles, my daughter's personal favorite Star Trek episode.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
I watch a lot of the animated series.
A lot of TAS.
I watch a lot
Excellent
of TAS, in which they mispronounce Orion as Orion. For no reason.
And they look totally different, by the way.
No,
Maybe it was just a different.
Orion's belt.
But there's also an Orion in the Time Trap, and they pronounce that correctly. And she seems like a regular. She actually is like a forerunner to Tendi, oddly. This Orion representative it's funny. The animated series is nuts. You rewatch it and you'll be like, wait a minute, the entire plot of One of Our Planets is missing is Star Trek Discovery Season 4. It is Star Trek Discovery Season 4. It is the complete same thing. It's just condensed into 22 minutes. My daughter describes every episode of the animated series the same way. She describes some terrible calamity that is going to befall people in the episode, like a space cloud eating a planet, and then she says it's hilarious. She says to my wife, my wife's like, what happens in that episode? She's like, they're in a pocket time universe and the Klingons try to blow up the Enterprise. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, TIS is great though. It's really interesting to see a lot of the concepts that you kind of forget. Shapeshifters, all sorts of stuff that you kind of forget is in there that some of the shows still use.
Brilliant.
Yeah, not all of it's great. There's a lot of the gravity going off. I've noticed, oddly, more than you think.
There's probably this thing where it's let's do everything in animation that we could never do with live action because of effects.
Exactly.
Gravity going off and cat people and
Well, that's kind of like Robbie McNeil saying they should do Captain Proton, The Adventures of Captain Proton, as an animated show.
I don't see why not.
Right.
They could,
I think he wants to do it as a audiobook podcast.
Yeah.
But same thing. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I guess just also in Strange New Worlds, also they do some really good character studies in each episode. But I think my rewatch criteria is just it puts a smile on my face, and Spock and always it's like a comfort blanket, and I feel like Spock Amok is so that.
The second episode is really the funny thing about Spock Amok is that there's 3 plots. Because it's not just the body switching, it's the negotiations as well.
I'm there for Nurse Chapel and Spock shipping.
Yeah,
you are.
The second episode of Strange New Worlds is actually really excellent. The Children of the Comet. I've actually rewatched that one a ton. Where they sing, where they sing to an alien to communicate to it. Come on, that's just that made me so happy because it felt like such a that episode is so G-rated. I love how G-rated that episode is. I mean that honestly. I love that it's just like this. I was saying this to Chase, I remember when I was researching my book, is that I watched the Explorers, the one where Cisco and Jake build the sailing ship. And I'm I could watch this with a 2-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, because it's
I love that so much.
you know, it's like not that I don't know. I love it when Star Trek is like the stakes in Children of the Comet feel so high, but it's not like scary. And then you've got like, you know, the Gorn episode, and that's
Oh my God, episode 9.
terrifying.
Still having nightmares.
Yeah.
So we have
I-
a new poll in the live chat, everybody. The question is, what's the biggest Trek news of the week? Is it Discovery season 5 is totally shot, as in finished shooting? Riker in Picard, all of season 3. Prodigy goodies. I didn't know how to narrow that down into a few words, so I just called it Prodigy goodies, and I'm lazy. Or is it Paramount Plus is dominating the streaming landscape this week? And right now, it's a very tight race.
I think the biggest news of the week is the new Lappy category that you just announced.
Yeah.
That's by far
Come on, Ryan.
that's gonna
Well,
that's gonna dominate
well,
the
Oh,
I
we couldn't
mispronounced. I
include
meant
it 'cause-
second biggest news
Yeah, exactly.
oh
of the
right.
week. Yeah. That's
Oh,
a
and I'm
very
also
good
going to
point.
drop another news tidbit just for like a second that doesn't have an article to go with it, which is the Orville news, where Seth MacFarlane tweeted that there's some things in the works where they're like, we'll see if a season 4 happens. So, I mean, that seems a little bit more further along than just like everybody tweet about renewing it.
Well, the
Mhm.
Orville makes an appearance in Star Trek Picard season 3.
Oh,
Wow.
Sorry.
oh my gosh. that's
Hoping to see
amazing.
Ed.
Well, I need Jake Sisko to be like an older stepbrother or half brother to.
I mean, again, like
Our
maybe
friend
if
Britt.
what if that was an Easter egg they actually planted and I didn't see it? Like that would be
Oh my
really
gosh.
annoying. No, but I know that. I mean, I think that Metalis is buddies with Goodman, David Goodman, who works
Mhm.
on, you know,
Yeah, I heard that from Inglorious Trexpers.
Yeah.
Plus, they
That's
also
right.
worked on Enterprise together.
right, exactly. Yeah. With
Have
Brent
we,
Brackett.
have we gotten our monthly Star Trek 4 is happening or Star Trek 4 is not happening news?
No,
That was dominating. And then last week, like I guess, was it Zachary Quinto? Maybe somebody was saying like, I don't think it's ever actually happening.
Okay.
That's interesting, like, I
next-
wonder-
even though
yeah, yeah,
even though Frakes said he would be happy to direct it.
sure.
That would be great if he did, actually. I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Well,
think
it's
so
like
too.
New York Comic-Con when they were like, actually, there should be a Picard movie. And then Frakes was like, I would direct that. I was like, that's what I need to happen.
So I did pull up the categories, since you mentioned the Lappies again, that we have announced so far, everybody. Plus everybody in the live chat's like demanding it. So we have to just do what they
Yes.
demand. This is what we have announced so far. Now, obviously we have 3 divisions, right? You have everything that happened in 2022. That's like all the stuff of the year, you know, Picard, Prodigy, Discovery, Lower Decks, and Strange New Worlds, and everything that happened there. Then we have legacy stuff. That's everything before 2017. And then we have the universe division, which is everything new and old movies and series and everything. So the things that have been announced are the best new series of
No, that's new episode.
yeah, why did I put series? I need to delete that.
That
Best
was
new
last time.
episode of 2022. So that's open to
Really
like
contentious.
45
48
episodes or
or
something
something.
like that, something crazy. Then we've
Ooh.
got best musical instrument moment. That's Star Trek universe. That's all
I
Star
can't
Trek,
wait for that
new and
one.
old. Another one
Wow.
for the Star Trek universe
Wow.
is this is an Anne Marie special. Best
These are my
kiss.
two. Yes.
Best kiss. Scott Baker was really pushing for that one too, obviously.
From this
Uh,
year's
Obviously.
Forever. Best,
All
right?
of them.
Oh,
Best slash
oh,
hottest.
We've also announced 2 other legacy ones. Best last episode in a legacy series, because last time we did the best first episode. So this time we're doing the best final episode, and people have already figured it's going to be really between 3 series there. It's not really going to be out of 6.
These Are the Voyages is going to win, obviously.
Hell yeah. And the last one is funniest Deep Space Nine moment. That's of any season there.
Because last year we did funniest TNG moment. which was
Yes.
such a cute kid. Though some of these ones had like 75 write-ins that we had to like
Yeah,
all
there are
go
going to be
through.
so many answers to
But
parse
it's
that
kind
through.
of fun reading everybody's write-ins. That's like one of my favorite parts.
Do
Mhm.
people still is it still okay to like the casino episode in Deep Space Nine?
Mhm.
Yes. And actually Ira was just on talking about that.
I love that
Bada bing,
episode.
bada bang.
I love
I just think that
episode
I think that
too.
episode is so it's outrageous to me that this is what it's actually a really good example of Deep Space Nine does so much. It's always like, oh, Deep Space Nine was this dark show that redefined its politics. And it's like it has some of the funniest episodes. Like the
Yes.
baseball one, like it's like in the middle of the
Yes.
Dominion War. They're like,
loved
hey,
it.
they're like, that's why Star Trek is so fun. You can't imagine that, like even like Ron Moore tries to do it in like Battlestar, right? Like with the boxing episode, it's like it's not the same. It's like the baseball episode of Deep Space Nine is like,
That's
a good point.
Little
I just-
green men.
the fact that they can
magnificent
totally do
rings.
that is just nuts.
Yeah.
It's just it's great that they can even do it. I love it.
The
Yeah.
moment when Quark's face is put on in the holodeck on
Yes. Come to
Kira's-
Quarks. Come to Quarks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or the episode where Armin Shimmerman's face is used in The Next Generation.
Ooh, yeah, he's a little
On the
silver-
box,
Or
in the
a
little
basic
silver
gift
box.
box.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically a gift box. Do you remember? Did any of you guys ever play that trading card game in the 90s that was popular? Just me. Okay.
Uh,
Which
I'm
is it a Star
super
Trek trading
old.
card
I
game?
didn't have any friends to play it with.
The Star
I-
Trek customizable card game from 1993. The Betazoid gift box was like it was like Magic, but it was like Star Trek card game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they made a Star Wars card game, the same company, and that one was like a
Mhm.
lot more popular. But yeah, I owe my first job at a bookstore to like playing that Star Trek card game. Anyway, because I would go like gaming nights when I was like 14, and then I got a job at like a bookstore when I was like 17. But the Betazoid gift box card was like way too powerful. It had to be like banned from tournaments. It was like the most powerful card because you could like get anything. You could like get I can't remember what it did. You could get anything out of your deck, and it was like just too much.
Because
so
you
they'd be like-
had the mental
my
ability
God, this
to
is the
guess
best
what.
thing ever.
But
you
it
know,
was the
predict
Betazoid gift box
things.
was like a really powerful card in that game because it was only the Next Generation at first, and then they did like expansion
Yeah.
sets for the other shows.
Banned from tournaments. This is like my new favorite card related story.
I'll find it. I mean, I remember someone saying that to me in a tournament for a Star Trek card tournament when I was 15. No Betazoid gift box.
I have to tell my brother he's
Yeah.
a Magic tournament professional.
I don't know if those cards have retained any of their value, but I remember Picard was like a very, I remember like it'd be like in comic book shops, it's like $40 or something.
I
like
mean,
that.
well,
Scott,
the,
I remember Scott being an avid Magic the Gathering card player, right?
So was
I
Eric.
still am. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Anne Marie's brother is like a
the
professional.
professional. He like
Oh,
he's
yeah?
a little bit. He's semi-retired now from the circuit, but he gets,
Wow.
he gets paid
But,
like
what's
a
his-
ton of
what's
money
his-
to write articles. Michael.
What's his
Beasley,
ranking?
Watch him play on YouTube. They used to be like one of the top ranked. He would like.
What's his name?
Michael Siegel or Michael
Michael
B.
Siegel,
Siegel. I can't remember, but you can
Okay.
see him on YouTube play, and then he writes articles for whatever the
Oh, okay. I'll look it up.
their
Yeah, yeah.
thing is. So funny.
Yeah.
I
But,
just
the
love that
funny thing
Scott's
is-
writing his name down
Yeah,
so we
this
can
is
look him
hilarious.
up. This is great.
Yeah, my favorite is to like watch his matches on YouTube and I'm like slip in that
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
funny.
oh, remember when you played this guy Austin? Like, shut up, Amory. Yeah.
But Aaron used to play that too,
Oh, wow.
Magic of the Gathering, and he played the Star Trek one as well.
So
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Cool.
there's a pretty big community of people that play it. Like I've played with
Yeah.
a lot of people out here in the film industry that play and stuff like that. And because it's sort of there's this like crossover of like nerd geek kind of culture and the same kind of people that were into like Magic and the trading card games, also the same kind of artists and writers and people that
Mhm.
kind of get drawn to the film industry and the arts and things like that too. So
Storytelling. Yeah.
storytelling, yeah. Dungeons and
D&D,
Dragons,
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's all the same sort of kind of people kind of gravitate towards those sorts of things.
Anne Marie, I will see if I can find. I have some of my old cards. I'll see if I can find my Betazoid gift box and like take a
Oh my
picture
God,
of
we
it.
need a picture of that so badly.
I mean,
The
you can Google it. I just think it'd be funny if I like found my
It's
actual
funnier.
one. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, it didn't get confiscated.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah, so it says immediately look through your draw deck for up to 30 seconds and choose 3 cards to place into your hand, then shuffle your deck afterwards. So that's
Right.
it's such a weird thing that it gives you 30 seconds. So like your opponent has like a stopwatch that he's like timing
You can't
as
go
you-
forever. Yeah, you gotta be like,
sorry.
it's just a quick prediction.
I just have
Right,
to mention
right.
this hilarious comment from Scott Jensen. It
Yeah.
says, I sell magic at work every day, and I just realized I've heard of Anne Marie's brother.
Oh wow.
What? I love it.
That's amazing.
I mean,
That's
I actually didn't
amazing.
realize it was that big. More like we're 8 years apart. So when I went to college, I didn't see him as much. And so I would like not lovingly troll him by being like looking up Magic's card that and being like, "Ooh, do you have this one in your deck yet?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's got a big deck. He's got all the cards.
Yeah.
What? Why is that,
He
Scott? Why
might
is
be
that
watching
funny?
right now because sometimes Becca, his girlfriend's in the live chat watching.
Oh wow.
So, all right, let's talk about, we only have a few minutes left. Let's talk about the news of the week. Ryan, Britt, if you have to run, now's your chance. But before you do run, tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find me. I'm sticking around on Twitter for now. Ryan C Britt. You can also find me on Instagram, which is just ryan.britt. And then yeah, I mean, I write for Inverse, weekly, daily, doing a lot of Andor stuff there right now, just because that's ending. And then I got a Prodigy thing coming out there this week, and then Den of Geek. I've been doing a lot of this Picard stuff that's going to start coming out next week, and so that's exciting. And then yeah, and then I interviewed Jason Momoa recently, so I did that for Fatherly. So check that out. That's coming out next week, I think. It was very short, very small thing, but yeah, and then yeah, just go get Phases on Stun from a bookstore. And if you like it, or buy it for a gift. It's a quirky, fun book for a casual fan, for a serious fan. Yeah, and there's some stuff in there that I feel like maybe people don't know, and that maybe are fun and exciting things. Nicholas Meyer blurbed it, and Chase Masterson blurbed it and said it was good, and Nick Meyer called me merrily opinionated. So I think yeah, I mean, I think that
on my tombstone.
I think that if people have told me after talking to me that it is like talking to me to reading the book, and I find that to be a huge compliment. So if you enjoyed listening to me rant and joke with this wonderful group of people, then hopefully you'll enjoy the book. But yeah, and then if you like that, I'll got a Dune book that's due in 3 weeks that comes out next year.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I got some Dune scoops next year. But this has been great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me
so
on.
much for coming.
This is like really wonderful and just a delightful way to go into the holidays. So thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
Come back
Those are right around the
anytime.
corner. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Ryan. This has
Yeah,
been
well,
great. Really appreciate it.
let's talk more about other stuff. Yeah, another time. Okay, thanks guys.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right. So here is what we've got going on this week before we roll out everybody. I just got hungry. Yesterday, the Seventh Rule released our review, this on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, of Deep Space Nine Season 7, Episode 20, The Changing Face of Evil. Melissa Longo is there, of course. Go check that one out. Man, it's almost the end of Deep Space Nine for us. And tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific, that's tomorrow, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. This is, of course, this on the Falling Tower YouTube channel. It's Falling Tower's 80s sitcom month, and we are premiering our review of Perfect Strangers. Also, Melissa Longo. Boy, she's all over the place. It's Melissa week, everybody. So Perfect Strangers, if you like that show, if you hated that show, if you've never heard of that show, this episode is for you. I think that covers everybody. Go check that out on the Falling Tower YouTube channel tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then on Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, it will be the Seventh Rules review of episode 15 of Star Trek Prodigy, with, of course, Bonnie Gordon joining and Dr. Muhammad Noor. So it's going to be, what's a fourfecta? How do you say a trifecta? A quadrecta?
Waterloo?
A quadrilute?
Quadrilute? Is that a Star Trek word?
Waterloo.
I don't know what's going on.
Or a TOS
A
episode?
quaple. It's a quaple. Anyway, you know, like a thruple. Scott gets it. Like a thruple.
And
Anyway.
also, I just want to also plug that that same day, Muhammad Noor is releasing his BioTrekkie Explained video, talking about the episode, some of the science of the episode in more detail.
Do we
as
know what
well.
time?
No, I'm not
Probably
sure.
in the
it'll be
morning.
released with the live chat this time. Yeah, knowing Muhammad, I'd guess the morning, but
Yeah, he's a morning
I don't know
guy.
if there's a live chat with it or not.
So everybody go check that out on BioTrekkie's YouTube channel. It's called BioTrekkie.
Explained.
BioTrekkie Explained.
Yeah.
I bet if you typed in BioTrekkie, you'd find it.
Mhm.
Yes.
I hope there's not
I
too
hope.
much
Wait,
traffic.
there might
Yeah.
be some imitators.
Yeah. Then
He is
on
the first one
Friday,
that pops up.
yeah, I bet.
He is the
Friday,
first-
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel is Star Trek and Chill Live, where we definitely chill. We probably Star Trek. And then Sunday, go over to the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. This is at Deep Space noon a.m. Wait, what is it? Deep Space 9
9
a.m.
a.m.
Pacific, Deep Space noon Eastern time. That is too clever. I can't even keep up with it. What's that going to be? Oh no, this is it. It's the Seventh Rules first segment review of
Oy
Deep
vey.
Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 25, What You Leave Behind. Melissa is there along with showrunner Ira Stephen Bear. Let's see if I could get it right this time. That is at Deep Space 9 a.m. Pacific, Deep Space noon Eastern time. So go check that out, everybody. And then all the way back to next Monday will be the Seventh Rules YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be releasing our review, the full review, that is, of When It Rains. Is it When It Rains? Yeah. Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 21, When It Rains, with Nana Visitor. That is Major / Colonel Kira. So everybody go check out all that stuff. And happy Tofurkey Day, too, by the way.
Yes.
I'd say I love your background, Melissa. It looks like you're coming out through the window and kind of leaning your arms out. Yeah, it's like
I'm coming out of the window now.
I
Like that-
I was
Like
on
that
the
Deep
phone.
Space Nine episode. What was the Deep
Yeah.
Space Nine
Oh.
episode where Nog was in the shuttlecraft in the shuttle bay
Yes,
doing something?
Like not
And then Jake's
It
like,
was Bassett's.
Facets? Is that what it was?
It's the scene that opens up the episode, and it's the one where Jadzia has her Jantaras.
Oh.
Spicy.
So everybody's wondering, how did the poll go? 4% of you said the most important news of the week was Paramount dominating. 8% of
voted
you
for
said the
that.
biggest news was, oh, you were the one. 8% of you said it was the Prodigy goodies.
I did that
17% of you said Discovery Season 5 is completed. And 69% of you said the biggest Star Trek news of the week, besides, of course, the Seventh Rule, Next Generation stuff, is Riker in Picard all of Season 3.
I changed my vote just to make it say 69%.
Hell yeah. And we wouldn't have any other way. Well, Scott, we got to run. Would you like to tell people where they can find you? Anything you'd like to promote?
I'm in Hollywood, California. You can find me there, running up and down the street.
Next to that guy lying down on that mattress outside, remember?
Yes,
I was
do remember
driving-
that.
I was driving through. I was like right outside Scott Baker's apartment complex, and there was a guy on the, doing weird stuff. And then I was like, "Hey, Scott, look out your window," and you saw him
Yeah, that's the if somebody puts a mattress or
on
a
Sunset.
couch or something like that out on the sidewalk, it's a matter of 5 minutes before somebody walks by and be like, "Hey, that's a good place," and they camp out for a little while and
I
then they
would.
move on. Yeah. No, I'm here. You can find me on Instagram, Mr. Scotty Baker, Twitter, Mr. Scotty Baker. and that's where I mostly am
Mhm.
these days.
And Sunset
yeah.
Boulevard.
Hollywood Boulevard, but yeah, sure. I'm
Whatever.
sometimes on Sunset Boulevard too,
Yeah,
but yeah.
you go hang out there. I've seen you there on a mattress.
It was Scott on the mattress.
He's doing research for a new Pretty Woman.
Yeah, right.
Aw.
What about you, Melissa Longo? What's up with you?
What's up with me? You can find me online at Melissa Longo. That's on the social medias, and then at the Introverted Republic, you can find Walking Art Made by Melissa is now on that website, and you can find some wares. International shipping will be opening up probably, I
Ooh.
imagine, this week or maybe early next week. We're still figuring that out, but
Nice.
yeah.
Glenn Iverson in the live chat says the grape beard of the galaxy will be on the seventh rule again. Excellent. Great.
Oh, I just
beard.
gotta plug a
Yes.
movie that I was the camera
Oh.
operator on
Yeah,
called
do
The System. Just came out. It's with Tyrese Gibson and Jeremy Piven and Terrence Howard. It's a sort of like they're like in jail and there's like underground fight club. So if you like, fighting movies and things
And
like
Jeremy
that.
Piven.
Yeah, and Jeremy Piven. Jeremy Piven's great, super cool to work
Oh.
with. Yeah, he's quite a character. He plays the warden of the prison in this one.
Oh, perfect.
He's like the
Great
bad.
casting.
He's like the bad guy that you kind of secretly sort of like because he's always making jokes, But
Like
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Hot.
it's called The System, and it's on all the streaming things. So
Mhm.
Yep.
Awesome. And what the system? Okay. What about you,
System.
Dr. Anne Marie Siegel, sister
Sis-
of famous Mike
sister.
Siegel?
Michael Siegel. Yeah, at Twitter at Anne Marie Siegel 1.
All right.
And I'll take
And
all
everybody-
inquiries for Michael.
Y'all can find me probably on Twitter, Ryan TG Husk, or Falling Tower, The Seventh Rule, or Virtual TrekCon right here on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, maybe Instagram too. Who knows? Maybe other stuff, whatever. We'll see you soon, and we'll see you online, maybe. But yeah, enjoy your Tofurkey Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm leaving after this to go see family.
I'm
Oh,
thankful for
fun.
Star Trek.
Me too. There's an amazing, I'm just going to close with Star Trek on Paramount Plus has this amazing GIF where it's like where Worf reveals that he isn't into combat anymore. Now he's like a pacifist. And they were like, just keep this in mind for your Thanksgiving dinners.
Aw.
I
See
love when
you
they use
guys.
Hollywood messages
See.
or holiday
Well,
messages
because
on
Michael
Star Trek.
Dorn is vegan, so he probably is very
Mhm.
pleased with that.
Tofurkey. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm. Scott, you seem like the kind of guy that tried Tofurkey once and thought it was terrible.
Bing, 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 bing.
Bingo. Yep. I knew. I
even
can just.
even when I was vegan, I was like, this
I've
stuff
got
is
the
terrible.
Betazoid card deck too.
Yeah.
I've never had Tofurkey.
Oh, really? Anne Marie seems like she hasn't had it before either.
Here's the thing. I don't eat that much meat anymore,
I know
but
it. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving I need a turkey and I need it with canned cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
I don't think I can give that up.
Cranberry sauce.
Glenn Iverson says Tofurkey blech, which means yum in some language, maybe.
Mm.
Oh, but I like
Klingon,
the Gardein
Klingon.
roasts.
Hang on. Gardein
how you-
roast,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But they're
field
stuffing.
roast.
Yeah, it's really good.
Mhm. So everybody, Scott Baker and Anne Marie are going to go. Melissa and I are just going to talk vegan tips for the next 20 minutes. So stick around for
Great.
that. Just kidding. Everybody, see you later. When you want the best Tofurkey tips, put it on the main viewer.
Mhm.
And if you want turkey tips, I don't know.
Ask my mom.